All right. We should be live. Welcome, everyone, to Access Season 3, our live finale night. My name is Brandon. Once again, I'm the host and creator of Access. If you are here and you have no idea what this is or what shenanigans is going on, there is a link down below in the description to take you to rules and how this all works. But essentially, Access is the next evolution of social strategy games for instead of voting people out, you vote them in. Through this game, players will be eliminated until one can earn access to victory, and we will learn tonight who that one person is. Right now, we are currently at our final 4, and tonight we will go from 4 down to 1. So currently in our final 4, we have Cameron, Nick,
hello,
Abby, and Josh, who is safe this round, won the challenge, which means he's guaranteed into the final 3 and also had the shred power. Again, if you don't know what any of this means, that's totally fine. Just stick with us and read the rules later. All right. So first thing we need to do tonight is get to our live access ceremony. Basically, what this means is we're going to figure out who was eliminated in the final 4. The 3 people up for elimination again are Cameron, Nick, and Abby. All right, so first, let me get my backgrounds here. All right, to start off, we will go to Cameron. Your access is granted. You are safe and through to the final 3, along with Josh. Nick, your access is required. As of right now, you are not through to the final 3. If Abby's access is granted, you're out. If it's required, then it'll be up to Cameron to decide who is eliminated. Abby, your access is required. This means, Cameron, you have gotten an extra vote this round. Okay. I think they can hear us. Cameron, you have gotten an extra vote this round. You must now decide to save Nick or to save Abby. Whoever you do not save, whoever you do not give access to, will be eliminated in 4th place. Cameron, please make your decision now.
Is there any bartering that can be done live?
Sure.
All right, so the way I see it is if Nick has a final 2 pass and I send Abby home, then she has to give her envelope to Nick, which means Nick has 2. So I would like a final 2 pass. Is there a way of guaranteeing a final 2 pass being passed to me prior to making this decision?
If someone has a final 2 pass and would like to give it to you right now, they are free to do so.
Is it because you don't trust me, Caleb, to give you the final 2 pass?
Did you call me Caleb?
Oh, it's Cam. Sorry.
Well, if that's a disqualification, he should just give up the final 2 pass now.
There's too many Calebs in my life.
That moment when Cam has a twin?
Yeah, name's Caleb.
Oh, that's what it is. See, I knew there was one reason.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's not that I don't trust you. It's that I could totally see me saving you having 2 final 2 passes, and then taking Josh over me.
Well, it would be smarter for me to take Josh or Abby because I think they're seen by most people as the villain that nobody wants to win. At least that's my understanding of it. I'm not sure. I know Abby messaged me about that. Why are you picking Cam over me or Josh? I really think it's because I trust you. to follow through with what we had planned. So if you were to make me give it to you, the final two pass I have now, I would be depending on you to do the same thing. So we're both in the same boat. You know what I'm saying?
I see.
I'd like to voice, if I could, Nick, what are you going off of that would make you not trust me?
I think you've given off a certain, we'll say, Godfather-esque vibe. That makes me not trust you. And you've even said that you're the Godfather. So you expect something from me, which you should. You should. Everybody's trying to win this game. I just don't want to deal with the Godfather if I don't have to.
But the Godfather's not done anything to you through the whole game.
The Godfather always comes back to bite. You never get involved with the mafia if you don't have to.
So I would just like to clear my name. Brandon is the one that introduced me as the season 1 Godfather in my introduction.
I didn't say I called you the Godfather. I'm just saying that's the name that was given to you. It must have been given to you for a reason.
Oh.
What was that reason? Tell me the reason. Maybe you can convince me.
Somebody was upset because they got left out of an alliance.
Why were they left out?
Because they talked to too many people.
That was in season 1.
I see.
Yeah, and they couldn't be trusted.
Abby, who's, if you wouldn't mind, whose vote did you shred last round?
Pete's.
Oh, interesting. Josh, who'd you vote for? You had said you were going to vote for me.
For you?
Well, I didn't get voted for, though. I had access required.
Who did I vote for, Brendan?
Josh and I swapped votes, and Nick voted for Josh.
I think that's some reason not to trust you.
You didn't work with me all, I want to say all season, but all week.
I know. I'm sorry. You intimidate me. You and Abby both intimidate me.
Well, the way I see this is if I save Abby sending Nick home, I don't see Nick giving me a pass. And I guess for me to have a shot with a pass, I'm gonna let Abby go home, trust Nick, and if not, Josh can fight Nick in the final 2. So I'll save Nick.
Oh, Cam.
All right. With that, I'm sorry, Abby, but your access has been denied.
Oh, no, not the flame.
I don't know if this makes Abby our robbed G. Otis or not. So, anyways, Abby, because you were eliminated and there is nothing now here to hide, you must give an envelope which has a final 2 pass in it to to one of the eligible players from the last round. The only eligible player was someone who had their access required at first and then was saved. The only person that matches that description is Nick. So going into our final 3 now is Cameron, Josh, and Nick. And the only person with a final 2 pass is Nick. So Nick, you currently have both final 2 passes. Cameron and Josh are without. You must now decide who you would like to take to the final 2.
Cameron.
Okay. With that, I'm sorry, Josh, but you have been eliminated, which means Cameron and Nick, congratulations. You are in the final two. Pete, Abby, and Josh, you are our 3-person jury. So at this point, I would like to open the floor to our jury to ask any questions that you feel like you need to ask at this point. Yeah, so go ahead.
Cam, you and I worked for the majority of the game, man. And the stronger possibility of a you and I final came with the thought of no Nick and those passes being out of his hands.
Yes.
So I'm just curious why the switch at the end to ultimately go with Nick.
To be honest, I do not like very much how the end played out. I got a very straightforward, very clear, like visual drawing from Nick of how the votes will play out. And regardless of what I chose to do, I either went with Nick to the final or I was not going to get a final 2 pass and Josh and Abby would be in the final. Those were the 2 options. He would either take me or out of spite, if I didn't go with him, he wouldn't take me. And he had all the power to do that going into it with a final 2 pass. Props to him for having that power to be able to do that.
Don't know how I got it.
To me, at this point, I talked to Abby a bit and I basically said, hey, if Nick is trying to play me and he's trying to get me to vote a certain way and he's going to flip and send me home, I can potentially do something if I sense that's happening. But Nick voted for me as he said he was. And at that point, I wasn't able to be if Nick had not voted for me, there was a possibility in the round that I would be left as the only person without access, but that wasn't going to happen because Nick did what he said he was going to do. So yeah, I mean, I wanted to take you. I would have liked to see that final happen. I told you that sincerely, but at that point, it kind of came to I have to make a selfish move at the end to keep me in. And I trusted Nick that I wasn't going if I sent him home.
Well played.
Nick, I guess I'll go next here. Me and you were the only 2 people eliminated early on in the game. And then the reset button got pressed and you got a chance to come back in. From some of the veteran players early on in the game, you were kind of seen as the layup character. When it came to the first elimination, you didn't even understand how Cam's power to shred worked. And that ultimately led to you being eliminated first. Tell me a little bit about your early game and tell me what kind of moves you did. Because I know how Cam got to this point, but I feel like without a lot of really dumb luck, you wouldn't be in this position. So tell me a little bit about your game.
You can call it the rookie factor. You can call it dumb luck, whatever you will. At first, I mean, the whole time I've just been trying to be truthful. I don't know how I've made it to the final 2, to be honest with you. I don't even know if I should win it. I was the first one out, and now I'm in the final 2 within a matter of days. Don't know how that's possible. My tactic in the beginning was to vote in the people I most feared, which Abby being the first one, she ended up, she had good gamesmanship and left me hanging out to dry. That's okay. That's how the game works. That was my tactic in the beginning. And now in the end, I just saw the opportunity to go with somebody that was trustworthy to at least get me to the final 2. So that's I kind of depended on Cam because he hadn't slighted me throughout the whole game. I know Josh and Abby did at one point, and nothing against them. That's just how it works.
if I may, before Abby jumped in, because I know it's technically one question per person. Cam, I have a couple issues with your game too. I know technically me and you were supposed to be do or dies, but as Antoine can attest, I've been talking about getting you out at Final Five pretty much the entire season, and then I go at Final Six and Final Five. You came into the season with the mantra of being the challenge beast among the veterans. We all knew Abby was a social threat, Josh was the godfather, and Cam was the challenge beast. If you could explain a little bit of your social game this season. I know obviously there was a decent portion in the first half of the game where you were safe because you won challenges, which respect to you for doing it. Tell me why you thought you needed to reset, and tell me a little bit about your social game.
Yeah, to me, with a 7-person cast, I feel like a 3-person alliance is what you need to have to continue through an individual round of access. If you have 3 people and one of them can win a challenge, then the other 2 can swap votes and you can keep that alliance moving through the game. So I wanted to start off the bat and I wanted to develop a strong alliance with people. But I also needed to make sure that I had people that I wanted to keep in the game. I communicated with Josh heavily at the beginning. That wasn't like I was trying to play him. That was me trying to keep him in the game because I totally foresaw the fact that Peter or Antoine might want to get me out. That was just something that I realized was a possibility. Josh, I know, is a very strong player and was viewed as a threat by many people. And he may have wanted to keep me as a shield, which meant that he might not have wanted to take me out quickly. So I wanted to create strong alliances quickly and maintain integrity and honesty with those alliances. I think Peter and Antoine can attest to the fact that I was honest and loyal to that group. But then when the reset happened, I was like, well, I kind of want to just redo that whole thing at the beginning. I wanted to reset. To me, Josh was starting to seem like a person I could actually work with in this game rather than a person I could just continue to try to make sure he stays alive. And I wanted to reset and focus with Peter and Josh. And I wanted to try to get to the end with the 3 of us. So that was why I wanted to reset personally. But to me, the social and challenge played together because if you can't get your alliance to the end, then you have no shot. So being somebody that's able to win to get my alliance to the end was a social game aspect as well.
All right. You are free to ask more than one question to either player. Do any of our jury members feel the need to get more information to decide their vote?
I have a question for both of them.
Okay.
What's your favorite color?
Nittany Lion blue.
Okay,
I got a Penn State fan. I would say purple.
excellent. Thank you.
Any other burning questions that will deeply change how your vote will go? All right. If you do, feel free to interrupt me. But at this point, it is time to vote for the last time. Pete, Josh, and Abby, please go to your confessional chats and put in the name of the person you want to win. You're voting for who you want to win.
Send me there. I don't know how to do it.
You can just do it in the Zoom if that would be easier for you, Abby. In the Zoom chat.
That makes no sense to me.
All right.
What do I?
At the bottom of the Zoom, there's a chat button, and then you can change everyone to just Brandon.
Oh, and just write it.
And then
Yes.
write, yep.
Okay, got it.
Last chance. Does anybody have to propose here before we officially announce the winner?
I think it's after the winner's announced that typically
True,
the
you guys
proposal
are getting
happens.
married.
Typically.
If you're wondering why we're talking about proposals at a finale, that's what happened at the end of season 2. So I was curious if it might happen this season, but doesn't look like it yet, unless anybody has a surprise. Okay. I did also promise our final 2 one last plea speech, but I apologize. I forgot. I don't think it's going to change anything at this point, though. So, with a unanimous vote to win, Cameron, congratulations. You have won Access Season 3. Congratulations.
Congrats, Cam.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you.
Good luck.
That's good celebration music. The first question from the fan chat is from Nick's wife. How will you celebrate your win?
Wow. I think I'm gonna have to take a couple minutes to just bask in this newfound glory. I think I might start a sort of a trending page, and I might become a TikTok famous star. I can talk about the journey through Access.
You're not a TikTok star already?
No, I've considered it, but it's hard. There's just a lot of teenagers on there that are just way more talented than I am. But
Yeah.
I have accolades now. I have a credential to add. So
yeah,
I
definitely.
appreciate it.
Yes. All right. We are getting a few questions coming in from our fan chat, but what questions do you have for each other about the season and different things like that? It looks like Pete might have one.
I have a couple different ones. You know me, I always have a bajillion questions. As both Cam and Antoine can attest, in the 2 weeks we played this game, I probably spent over 8 hours on the phone with the 2 of them. And my dad even asked me, he's like, I have 3 calls to California. What's going on? Like, each one's at least an hour. And I'm just like, I promise you it's nothing bad. It's not a scam. So I guess one question I have for Cam, I know the reset button was because we wanted a new perspective on the game and you wanted me back in. Had the reset button not been hit, had you kind of just said, you know what, let's just roll with it, let's see what happens, what would have been your strategy moving forward? Because I know right leading up to that vote, me and Antoine considered it, we kept calling it the easiest vote of the season. Me and Antoine would switch, and then either Abby, Josh, or Nick would go home unless Antoine pulled off an epic blindside, which Antoine pulled off an epic blindside. But that being said, when we had talked before, the thing was if Antoine did pull the blindside off, then Cam was kind of out on this island of the moment I lose, I'm going to be in this situation of everyone knows me to win challenges, so I'm easy pickings. So did you still have that alliance with Josh at that point to where you think you could have moved forward with him in the game?
As soon as it was announced that Pete went home, my heart started racing. I deliberately thought I was just the next one to go. I thought that at that point, Ben and Antoine and Josh were close together. They were working tight, and I thought I was just gonna get picked off. I knew that Abby had voted with Ben. I didn't know how close they were, but as I started to think through the mess afterwards, after the whole reset had happened, I guess I realized that Ben had actually voted, I believe, with our trio or our quad of people, and we had all presumed that Ben was the one that had flipped, and so we were very confused when it kind of didn't go that way. I don't know if Ben knows this, but on the second vote, we were skeptical of Ben based on what Josh had told me about him working with you. So we basically totally switched the vote, and Antoine and Pete swapped votes. to see whether or not you were lying. And if you weren't, then we would just save you. And actually, it still played out well, surprisingly. But we were like, oh, well, Ben had flipped. So I didn't think Ben was for us, but I guess he might have been actually with us. And I was working with Josh a little bit to just kind of keep him alive in the game. So in retrospect, I probably could have continued with Ben and Josh, but in the moment, I was just very freaked out after what happened. And I was like, okay, I just need to reset here. So
Gotcha.
I don't know.
And follow up, Abby, I have a question for you. Last season, you were the dominant force that picked apart us boys and like literally like managed to convince Cam and Doug and just about everyone in my alliance from last season that the girls aren't up to anything. Everything's fine. We're going to be truthful. And I sat there saying, we're getting played. We're getting played. They're playing us. And I kept going, no, we're good. We're good. We're good. Tell me a little bit about your game this season. Because I know coming into the season, originally I wasn't going to work exactly with Cam. And then once I saw it was a 7-person cast, it was like, okay, we kind of have to work with Cam. And you were kind of always target number 1, but you ended up making it to Final Four. So tell me a little bit about your game and about you.
Oof. I don't know what happened this season. I made an alliance instantly with Ben and Anton, but I thought they obviously weren't working with me. So I don't really know how I made it that far. Anyway, I just assumed none of the people who've played before would work with me, which felt correct. And I probably should have just gave Nick my vote that first time. Then yeah, it all just kept going. I honestly am also baffled to what has happened here. I mean, I won that. Did I win that challenge?
Yeah, you won the Final Five
okay.
challenge.
I won that challenge. That probably helped. Yeah, I just did not spend as much time strategizing as all of you guys because, sounds like you guys had a lot of phone time. But I did not do that. So.
Speaking of spending a lot of time strategizing, Ben, you had a question?
You can hear me, right?
Yep.
Okay, I have 3 questions.
Go for
First
it.
of all, who voted for me in that poll? Because I honestly don't know.
Yeah, I kind of wondered that too. Because like when we originally had that 4-4 alliance, I looked and like both you and Antoine like, oh, we're not voting anything up. I'm like, okay, well, someone's got to be voting because I'm like, I know I'm spamming my name, Cam's spamming my name. I said, but both Antoine and Ben are saying we're not spamming Ben's name. And I'm like, either Ben's got a stalker, Josh or Abby are up to something, or someone's just spamming the votes.
I told you that I had a group of 10,000 nannies that I asked to help vote. And because you said it would be suspicious if I had me getting voted for, I was like, well, to prove my alliance, I'll have them all vote for Ben.
Wow.
That is who's voting for you.
Wow. Okay, question 2. Pete and Cam. After I dropped out of the game, you both messaged me to apologize. At that point, did you guys trust me?
Yeah, I mean, sorry. I say, yeah, at that point, leading up to it, I had talked with Antoine, and Antoine can attest this. I had my strategy going into it was if I'm sitting next to Cam at the final 2, he's going to have the challenge wins on his record, and I'm going to have the I was carried by Cam mantra. So I was making Antoine my final 2 this season. You rubbed me the wrong way because originally you said I have nothing to do with the polls, which me not thinking that it was Abby and 10,000 nannies, I was thinking Ben's just lying to me. He's got people who are building it up. And even though he's part of our 4, he's not really part of our 4. So I put all my eggs in Cam's and Antoine's basket. And then after the final 6 vote went down, I'm like, oh, okay, well, I just got played. So it was actually funny because I told Cam last season, Abby's girls pulled off a similar move where Abby had created this whole fake chat with her own mother and renamed her mother Brandon, and like came up with this whole fake chat. And Cam was sending me pictures like, oh, I promise you this is true. I really believe it. I promise. I'm like, we're getting played. Like, we're getting played. This is obvious.
That's awesome.
And she, and of course, we got played and Abby eliminated the boys and then they picked us off one by one. Well, this season, Cam came to me the day before the final 6 vote and he's like, I think Antoine's flipping on us. He's like, I don't think he's with us. And I'm like, no, I said, you're just worrying too much. I said, Josh is in your head. And he was like, no, he's like, I really think he's going to flip. And I'm like, Cam, I'm like, it's an easy vote. Antoine wouldn't do that. I said, hang out. I said, we'll get Ben out, or Abby out, or Josh out. We'll be fine. And then the vote came, and I texted Cam afterwards. I'm like, so this is how you felt last season? And he's like, yep.
All right. How about you, Cam? Did you trust me after Antoine was
So
outed?
the funny thing is, as soon as we changed the vote, and I presume that Antoine and Peter swapped votes, and therefore, like, you should not have had access, and we were just testing your loyalty, and you stayed in, obviously because Abby voted for you, but we didn't know that. So I'm at this point saying, oh, okay, well, like, we know that, like, Ben didn't go with us because there was no way. But at that point, like, we just wanted to play it off as if you had actually voted with us so that you wouldn't, like, try to potentially do something crazy. I, like, messaged you separately, and I was like, hey, the great move, like, what do you think's going to happen here? And we were talking strategy. I'm not sure if you knew that I was thinking you had flipped the entire time or not.
Antoine actually told me.
Oh, okay. Well, I was trying to play you in the sense that, like, to make you think that we didn't know that you had flipped on us. And then as soon as the final 6 vote happened, I was like, okay, so Ben was actually with us. I do trust him. So I trusted you after that vote.
Okay. The reason I ask is because Antoine and I were working together the entire game. And everybody except Nick thought that they were in an alliance with us.
I was the Lone Ranger.
Yep.
Didn't understand the game.
You guys played very well. Like, the two of you had, like, were not only convincing, but, like, you guys were social. You connected with everybody. You had your kind of your words down to a T. Very well done.
Yeah. Well, and the message that you got from Antoine showing him his vote, that was completely fake.
Oh, the fact that the messages were sent at 3:31 and the timestamp at
you
the top
caught
of the
that.
phone was 3:31. I called Antoine. I said, "What? Like, why is this like that?" And he's like, "Oh, my phone does that sometimes."
My phone actually legitimately does that sometimes.
I just thought maybe, okay, like, that could be true, I guess. But the time lined up well with the times in our group chat of, like, when he would have voted. So I was like,
because Antoine called me and I told him how to change the time on his phone so he could send you a message so that you would trust him.
It worked out. I texted Pete and I was like, does this look fishy to you? I sent him the screenshot and he's like, nah, I think you're good.
Yep.
Very well played.
Those are my questions. I was just because I really think at that point, had Antoine and I stayed in, if you had still trusted me, we might still have made it to the end of the game.
Yeah, I was down to work with you at that point. So
Ben, following up on that, then, did you going into the final 6 vote, had me and Cam kept the order the same, where you would have voted for me and then I would have been, or Antoine should have voted for you, would you have actually voted for me to stay then, or were you still gonna pull off the final 6 blindside then?
So the whole plan between me and Antoine was we were going to get Josh out. But because of Cam's distrust, we decided we had to go for you because we didn't think that we could trust you anymore. Well, Antoine was certain he could trust you, and I was certain that I could trust you guys because I knew that you had already swapped on me once. So we ended up taking you out just because of everything that had gone on. But it was my plan the whole time because I knew personally for my game, if I kept you in, if it was you and Cam and Antoine, then Antoine could easily flip and just get Abby and I out. So,
I mean, you can ask Antoine too. I kept, like, I told Cam, I said, as much as I was working with Cam, like, I had so many different conversations with Antoine of, like, I basically kept saying, like, here's all the different moves that you could play out. I kept saying, if you can make a big move, make a big move. I said, I don't care if it's me going out. I said, here's my plans to get Cam out. I said, here's my thoughts for this. Here's my thoughts for 5 and 6.
Yeah.
I just kept saying, I kept saying, like, if you make a big move, I said, no hard feelings. I said, because I love big moves. I said, if you're gonna pull it, I said, don't warn people ahead of time. So it's much more fun that way.
Oh yeah.
So the moment I saw I had access required, I'm just like, and I saw Josh was the judge. I'm like, nope, I'm done.
Yep.
Mhm. So the fans have a question for everybody, and that is, what is your favorite memory from this season? And I'll actually go first for this one because I have two. The first one is right after the first elimination. Three people dropped confessionals in their videos in their confessional chats, and that was Antoine, Cameron, and Ben. And Cameron in his confessional goes, okay, I know how it is. It's me, Antoine, and Pete versus Abby, Ben, and Josh. Like, those are the alliance. Meanwhile, Antoine in his chat is going, okay, I have Cameron completely snowed. Like, he's believing something from another world, but really it's me and Ben that are in on every alliance, and we're working together. And then turn to Ben's confessional. He's like, I know Antoine has everybody in his pocket, and I need to get him out sometime soon. It was just a great series of three confessionals, just watching them back after back. So that was a favorite moment of mine. My second moment was just watching Nick be an agent of chaos in this game from the very get-go. Like, nobody could predict what you were doing, Nick, and I loved every minute of it.
I tried to keep it that way.
Yeah. So what were your favorite moments?
I can share. I think my favorite moment was so Antoine had told me that Pete and Cam had convinced him to switch, and I thought I was done at that point. But eventually I realized that, but eventually you started to question it, and I realized that I could actually switch it potentially so that I was actually on top, even though because I didn't actually give this confessional, but after the first vote, when I was going into the second vote, I knew there was no way I could get Antoine out anymore. That was probably another one of my favorite moments. Just seeing how good of a game Antoine was playing.
Yeah, Antoine, what was your favorite moment? I'm curious because you had everybody at one point in your pocket.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the question. I would probably say my favorite moment was, I don't know. I think there's one point you play this game with strategy, but at the same time, you just kind of realize that you're just playing with real people as well. So I just got to connect with a good amount of the cast. And I think for me, it was just kind of better understanding, especially as I just reflected upon different things that kind of were happening and such like that, that the conversations I've had with some people in the cast, like in that moment, those were kind of more worthwhile things for me. And so it was just kind of realizing, as much as I enjoy these types of strategic games and that perspective of things, I just think the connections that I've made were probably far better than that.
I changed my answer to that.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's happened a few times over the course of these seasons, people getting to reconnect and get to know each other a whole lot better. Josh, let's bump it over to you. What's your favorite moment from the season? We can't hear you, Josh. Okay, we'll come back to you. We'll go to Nick next.
My favorite moment was being able to blackmail Caleb and choose the final two, regardless of what people did. It was so fun. I just knew what was going to happen, regardless of what anybody decided. It was kind of funny because I just sat there, and the only way that was possible was if Josh or Abby had won the challenge, because then the final two pass, it had to go to me, the second final two pass. So that was fun. I liked seeing it fall into my hands without knowing.
For those of you that are confused, Caleb is Cameron's twin brother. So I'm curious, if Cameron had saved Abby instead of you at the final four, would you have still given him a final two pass?
No, I would have given it to Abby and Josh, like I said I would.
Wow. That would have been an interesting face-off. That's a question I want to come back to in a moment. Josh, What was your favorite moment? Let's see if we can hear you now.
I think, is that better? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I thought my favorite moment was catching Ben, doing something, only to find out that I was being double crossed like that. I'm like Pete. I like big moves in the game. I don't like them when they come against me, but I pulled what I thought was a move too, and ended up feeling like I flushed both of those things out. But I guess in terms, that leads me to a question for Antoine too. I mean, were you surprised when you had a double vote? First off, but that was probably my favorite part. The rest of it was sort of stressful, and I couldn't figure out kind of what was going on in terms of Nick. Nick was frustrating. You frustrated me, man. Yeah, and I don't know. And Abby may be able to attest to this, but it's hard to play this game, and especially in this short of a season, it's hard to play this game when previous seasons are following you. I mean, you can't change your game from what has happened in previous seasons, and so that makes it hard, and especially in a 2-week time period. But I would
Once
like
a
to.
godfather, always a godfather.
Yeah, that I guess so.
Yes, Abby.
I don't know. It sounds like Antoine was the real godfather this season.
Yeah.
Antoine crushed it, and none of us had any idea the entire time. Best social player of the season.
Cam, what's your favorite moment from the season?
It's probably a combination. I'll just go off of what sort of what Josh is saying. I like big moves. And when I get a message from Nick saying, Cam, I have a proposition for you, and it leads you to the final two, and if you don't go with it, you won't go to the final two. And I'm just like, there's got to be a loophole. And I sat there drawing out maps, and I'm like, he's right. Like he is right. He has all of the power. And I'm just like, it's one of those really frustrating things where you want to have some power in the game. And I try to connect. I guess secondly, I think just connecting with Josh and Abby this season, just both on a human level as well as just in the game level. I got Josh's Fortnite username. I'm so excited. I heard all about Abby's daughter. It's just exciting when you're able to do that, and coming into the game, you expect people to have these presuppositions about how people are going to play, and just seeing that they are people playing the game just like you are, and they have no advantage really. It's just everyone's on an equal playing field in this game. Everyone needs access, everyone gives access, and it's just fun. So
Agreed.
Pete, what about you?
I guess it was a couple different fun moments. For those of you that followed along with my confessionals, because I'm currently renovating my house, I decided to make a giant access bubble on the side of one of my dining room walls, and basically write out all the different alliance names I had, all the different packs, all the different players, and who they could be connected with. And then after the second vote and after the reset, I decided to take some of my sample paints that we've been using for the dining room, and I basically made a giant X over the bubble. And I said, the game's been reset. It's time to do anew. Well, I walked down the next morning and realized the color green I picked was actually a light green. So not only could you still see the entire web that was on the wall, but now it was bright green. So needless to say, the next day I spent 45 minutes with nail polish remover and cotton balls trying to clean the paint and the pen off the side of my wall so my fiance wouldn't see what I did to the side of the wall. I also got to say, I love the fact that Abby's four-letter word for the contest was Josh. that was a true humor that I appreciated, even though I was out of the game at that point. So.
And how about the where we all thought she was trying to throw it and she put lose in the production chat?
Yep.
Like, was that a hint that you wanted me to lose or something, or what's going on? Were those two connected somehow?
Forget I did that, but I just did it to just make people wonder.
Did that. You did that well. I sat there looking at Cam. I'm like, is she really throwing the towel in? Or is this just Abby trying to play the woe is me, I can't win the game, and she's going to come out like a phoenix and beat all of us?
Abby, what was your favorite moment from the season?
I'll repeat what some other people said. I mean, my favorite part of this game is always like getting to actually talk to people, like real life talk, and connecting with people, and just like being able to put the game aside and then just be like flipping between sneaking around and just being like, so how are you doing today? So that was fun, and I had a lot of fun with my confessional. So that was my favorite part too, because I really just like being ridiculous.
Yes, that does remind me. We did have a lot of polls in the fan chat right at the end of the season here. Let's see, what are some that are applicable? So the first one was, who do you want to be in the final two? And the most popular choice was Abby and Josh, with half of the votes. Who do you want to win was Abby, with again half of the votes. And who had the most entertaining confessionals? Once again, actually not Abby this time. Unfortunately, it was Pete. So maybe shirtless painting is what gets you the most entertaining confessionals.
Oh my goodness.
Fun facts, I didn't realize there was supposed to be videos at first. So like coming into the season, I had like 7 long paragraphs of stuff. And then Brandon's like, make sure everyone submits their videos. I'm like, oh, okay. Videos.
Yeah, you're free to do some messages. Okay, but I do want to rewind here. Let's rewind the clock. We're back at the beginning of the night. Cameron cuts Nick. Nick gives the final 2 passes to Abby and Josh. So now Cam, Nick, and Pete are in the jury. Cam, Nick, and Pete, who win the game? Who wins the game? Abby or Josh?
I'd have to hear their petitions first.
I would probably give it to Josh.
Okay.
And see, I would have to give it to Abby just because coming into the season, like outside of Nick, because I didn't know where Nick's head was at all during this game. Like I texted Cam this on night 2. Nick texted me out of the blues, like, I'm going to give you my vote. And I'm like, I literally have said nothing to you, but I'm like, okay. But you can ask Ben and Antoine. I told both of them basically coming into the season, like, Abby's the social threat, Cam's the challenge beast, and Josh is the godfather. Like, here's what their strengths and weaknesses are. I think it had been Abby and Josh in the finals. I think I would have had to go with Abby just because coming in, Cam was like dead on getting Abby out. I figured Josh was going to want to get Abby out if they weren't working together. I was going to go for Abby, and there was no other female. So I'm like, outside of the fan vote, how's Abby going to get to the final 2? So if she actually managed to pull off getting the final 2, I probably would have given her my vote just for the fact that she made it that far.
So Nick, what do you think?
I have no idea. They both slighted me one day, which could have led to me being defeated. Oh, that's a tough one.
My slight was less of a slight. I offered your vote to many people. That was just
Tough one. Who won? Did one of these two win the previous 2 seasons?
No.
Neither of them. Who came closest?
Abby came in 4th last season, and Josh came in like
4th.
I was
16th place.
5th.
What?
You came in what, 16th place in last season?
Yeah, and then I was 5th in first season.
Yeah, you came in 5th in the first season. And Abby came in 7th in the first season, or 6th.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have probably given it to Josh then.
Okay. All right, Josh. you were one decision away from winning it all.
Consolation.
Yeah.
Woo.
Well,
Nick, there's a question for you. Had it come out to basically nobody gets an extra vote, Abby has a vote, and Cam gets a vote, and you just got shredded, so you're out. Would you have still given the vote to Cam, or would you have given it to somebody else?
If Cam,
Like
you're
you would have had to give both final 2 passes away. What 2 players would you have picked in that scenario? Had
Yeah, I
Cam
would've
gotten
picked-
a vote, Abby got a vote, but you were the only one eliminated.
yeah, I would have picked Josh and Abby.
Because
Josh
I didn't
Rabbit?
do what he wanted. I didn't vote for
Yeah.
him.
Yeah, I made it pretty
Mm.
clear to Cam that
Yeah.
if I wasn't in the final 2, he wasn't in the final 2. I could have done it with Abby just as much. Like, it was between Abby or Cam who I could have gone with. I guess I could have done it with Josh too, but I don't know. Just went with Cam. Seemed more trustworthy, and I'd rather see him win than Josh or Abby.
we did get another fan question. When Ben and Antoine were leaving the game that night, there was a very real chance that Maddie and Bill or Maddie and Tim potentially were going to be taking their place in the game. My question, or the question from the fan chat, is how would you guys have reacted to that?
I would have been thrilled because I would have worked with them and we would have gotten very far. And also, are Tim and Bill not the same person?
Do you know the difference between Tim and Bill now, Abby? That was the reason you got eliminated. That was the reason you got eliminated in the first season.
I couldn't keep them straight. So either one coming in would have been the same thing to me.
We here on the Access team are deeply hurt.
I know who you are now.
That would have been wild. That would have been a wild change. I would have liked it because it's just crazy change, and that's very much what Access can be about. But it would have been hard. I have no idea where they would have fallen into position-wise.
I'm not gonna lie, when I first saw the size of the cast for the season, my thought was you had like 3 or 4 other players that every time someone was gonna be eliminated, someone new was gonna pop into the game. And so I was like mentally prepared for it. So when we reset and I heard Antoine and Ben weren't coming back, I was fully prepared for the, okay, here we go, Maddie and Patty are coming back in. This is how the girls win.
This season, actually, in initial interest gauging, it was going to be a very female heavy season, and then a lot of people had to back out, unfortunately. But 'tis life over the summer, so we'll try to pick a better time for this in the future.
Brandon, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So one thing that I feel like me and Cam and some of the others prided ourselves on was trying to figure out how this game was working, who got all the votes, and obviously we did terrible each time because we thought Ben was a backstabber and Antoine was loyal. And but I saw halfway through the season we had something called the Access Detective. So I just wondered, after the reset and after Ben and Antoine dropped out, did that continue on for the fans? And if so, can you explain what that twist was? Because that was something that I wondered about all season, and I wondered if anyone actually did decent with that.
Bill, do you want to explain this one? Because this was all your fault. This was nothing. This wasn't anything.
What did I do?
I think I was just trying to guess what was going to happen that round. And then Bill was just trying to encourage people to join the fan chat. And so he was referring to me as the Access Detective, when really I was just probing in the dark, trying to guess what might be happening and see what other people thought. But yeah, that wasn't anything. But that makes me deeply glad that you were concerned about that and thought that was a twist.
Brandon, you just need to call up me and Antoine.
I just sat there and I was like, okay, I'm like, he's gonna make one of the fans a detective, and the fans are gonna have to figure out what other fans are detective. I'm like, but if they have access to all the confessionals, how are they gonna do a detective? Like, won't they have all the answers? So I was trying to figure out exactly what that was, and I'm like, and then my thought was, okay, is this detective going to have some sort of role in the game? Are they going to be able to vote at like final jury? Like,
Yeah, no, it wasn't anything. These are good ideas for future seasons, though.
season
But-
4, ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned.
Yes, the Access season 4, the detective season. But yeah,
just another comment about the game. For the password game, my goal was to figure out the words as fast as possible and get them to Josh and Abby so that Nick didn't win.
mhm.
I got the J and the A for Nick's word, and I guessed jail, Java, Jazz, John, Jack, Jaxie before I guessed jam. That was a fantastic word choice.
Yeah, I thought so too. Silent letters are always helpful.
Yeah. The jam was the hardest word to guess for everybody.
Yeah, I totally didn't catch on to the whole let's ask each other for our words.
Mhm.
That was a short-sighted rookie mistake.
Yeah. In seasons 1 and 2, there's lots of shenanigans that happened. Yeah.
But
Lots
Nick,
of
I
good times.
guess that your short-sightedness got you to the final 2.
Well, some call it short-sightedness, some call it playing the rookie card.
Are there any other final questions or comments before I start to wrap up? Because we are hitting near the hour mark.
Are we confident there's no proposals, weddings, possible baby announcements?
So, guys, I have a confession to make. No, just kidding.
All right. If not, then I just would like to thank all of you guys once again for playing. I know the summer it can be hard to play, and even 2 of you had to bow because of the difficulties of this. But I just want to thank you guys all again for your willingness to be a part of this silly, stupid game that I created out of nothing, and to be a part of it. It means a lot to me that we can get this out into the public eye a little bit, try to gain some interest, and just showcase the game. If you are someone that is not really part of the Access community right now, and you're watching this for the first time, and you are interested in this and wonder what more there is to this game, there's a lot more. This was only from the final 7 down. This actually starts with a 20-ish player season with usually 20 players with teams. There's keys, there's all types of powers that are to be introduced that were tested out in the first 2 seasons. The first 2 seasons were my guinea pig seasons, where I got to test out a lot of different twists and powers and things like that, in which I look forward to introducing to future seasons for the first time, kind of. So follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We also have a Facebook group at Access the Game. And you can also check out our website, which is accessthegame.weebly.com for more information. And we may even be doing some mini games here over the summer. So if you are interested in playing in a future season, whether it is this type of version, whether it be a live in-person version, or if it's a one-night mini game version, let me know. You can email me at accessthegame.info@gmail.com. And again, check out our website for more information. There's links in the description with some of these things, and let us know if you're interested in playing in a game in the future. We are actually toying around with the idea of doing a mini all in one night, a whole game all in one night over Zoom sometime around a month from now, because I have Zoom for a month. So again, trying to get my money's worth out of it. So if you're interested, please let me know. We'd love to see you play, and I'd love to deny your access. So in the meantime, that's all we have for you tonight. Thank you once again for all of your support and interest, and hopefully see you in future seasons. Thank you once again, and good night.
Thanks, Brandon.
Thanks,
Yep.
Brandon.
Thank you, Brandon.
Thanks.
Thanks, everyone.
All right.